reading a book just now that a friend loaned me about a young man and his wife who decided to set off and spend a year living among the Amish. They packed their bags and drive to this home that some acquaintances in the Amish community allowed them to live in. And they walk into a new world without electricity, without entertainment, without Hollywood, and without all the distractions that we're so acquainted with. And in that world, they discovered something that they'd never seen or noticed before. They discovered the music of silence.
Ave Maria, gratia plena Dominus tecum, benedicta tu in mulieribus, et benedictus fructus ventris tui, Iesus.
Sancta Maria, Mater Dei, ora pro nobis peccatoribus, nunc et in hora mortis nostrae. Amen.
This young man and his wife discover a whole world, a world of silence. They begin their day with all the chores of farm life, going out into the fields, plowing, harvesting, cultivating. But then at the end of the day, they sit back into their chairs after eating and listen. What do we normally do at the end of the day, after all the work and bustle of our days? We normally turn on the television, or the radio, or the music, anything to help us to unwind and disconnect from reality. But in those moments of disconnecting from reality, what are we missing out on? They sit down in these chairs, he says, and they listen. And all of a sudden, the entire world becomes alive. They listen to the crickets, to the wind, to the creaks, and the floors, and the house, which seems to be alive. Everything, the whole cosmos seems to lighten up. What they used to think of as silence and absence becomes pregnant with meaning. While their ears used to be dumb to the beauty of silence, they find themselves enchanted. At one point, he describes a light flickering in the back of the room, a firefly. Would they have noticed that in the past, with the blazing blue light from the television? Most likely not. But here it became magical, and they watched this firefly and followed it to the outdoors, where they saw the stars and the whole world, which seemed to shout, God is with us. I was reading a line this morning from an anthology of writings by Joseph Piper, the German philosopher, and he talks about contemplation. He says, if a person has been terribly thirsty for a long time and then finally drinks, feels the refreshment deep down inside and says, what a glorious thing fresh cold water is, then whether he knows it or not, he may have taken one step toward that beholding of the beloved wherein contemplation consists. How splendid water is, or a rose, a tree, an apple. In the midst of our workaday cares, we raise our heads and unexpectedly gaze into a face turned towards us. And in that instant we see everything which is good, worthy of love, and loved by God. Can we rediscover how to see? Can we rediscover how to listen? With all of our distractions, with our insistence that we veg and tune out, are we missing something utterly profound? We're in Advent right now, a time when we've been asked to fast, to turn off our television and to be quiet, to wait with the lamp kindled in our heart like the virgins waiting for their beloved. And in this time, in our silence, we have the opportunity to discover something that we may have been missing out on in all of our life. That the profundity, the sublime reality of God in this world is all around us, and we can tap into it and cherish it, so long as we can learn to be silent. I sometimes wonder, for For the vast majority of human history, people were surrounded by silence. When men and women were washing dishes at the end of the day, they didn't have television to turn on. They didn't have the news. They were in silence. People would sit around the dining table in silence. The whole world was lit up by this melodious silence. Is it really any wonder that we have so much trouble finding God now in our lives? Because there's no silence. We have to unplug from the machine. We have to throw away our smartwatches, to turn off our smartphones, to stop going into that place of self-pity and self-pampering at the end of the day, to sit and to listen. What a beautiful thing it is to be still and to cherish God and His symphony in the silence. God bless you.